Hey, this is Heather with Especially Paper. I'm going to show you how to create a paper spider mum, including adding a stem and leaves. I'm using the spider mum cutting file, which you can download at especiallypaper.com. Just look for the link in the video description. I've already cut the pieces with my Cricut Maker machine, but you can use any machine compatible with SVG files. Each flower is crafted from a set of 6 different pieces. Each of the pieces is numbered. Just count the dots on the end of the strip. In addition to your cutting machine, you'll need lightweight cardstock. You'll also need craft glue, a coloring medium like art markers or soft pastels, a bone folder or scissors, and a skewer or small dowel rod. You'll also need floral wire and floral tape if you'd like to add a stem to your flower. I'm using 2 18-gauge wrapped wires for each flower. If you'd like more details on the specific supplies I'm using, check out the video description for a link to recommended tools and supplies. Now that all the pieces are cut, you're ready to start assembling the flower. First up, add a little color to the smallest strip, which becomes the center of the flower. This is the strip with a single dot on one end. Adding color is completely optional, but it does create a more realistic flower. I'm adding more layers of color on the smallest petals so that the very center has the most color. You only need to color one side of the paper. Use a bone folder to gently curl the petals by applying pressure with the paper between the tool and your thumb. For the colored strip, curl so that the color is on the outside of the curve. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use closed scissor blades or rub the petals over a square table edge. But if you do a lot of paper crafts, I highly recommend a bone folder. It's an inexpensive tool, and I use mine often for curling paper and reinforcing folds for a crisp edge. Make sure you're curling the petals on all the pieces in a single direction. After all the pieces are curled, roll the strips together with the petals curling towards the center. Starting with the smallest strip, roll the paper around a small skewer or dowel rod. The skewer isn't a must, it just makes it easier to start the roll and leaves a little room to add a floral wire stem. Add a thin line of glue to the last few inches to secure the roll. Add the next strip marked with 2 dots. Start rolling with the blank end, which also has the shortest petals. Continue the process adding the strips in sequence until you've added the 6th and last strip. Once it's completely rolled, apply a thin layer of glue over the bottom of the roll to keep it from sliding out. Ideally, this would be set aside to dry completely, but for this tutorial, I'm going to keep going. I like to think of the next step as blooming the spider mum. Fold the petals down, working your way around the outside of the roll. Continue until you reach the middle, leaving the innermost petals curled inward to form the flower center. Use the bone folder to curl a few random petals down for a more natural look. For the stem, I'm using 2 pieces of floral wire and wrapping with floral tape to create a thicker stem. If you're new to using floral tape, it's important to know that stretching the tape a little is what activates the glue. As you wrap the tape around the wires, gently tug to stretch the tape so that it sticks to itself. Once you've finished wrapping the stem, add a generous dab of glue to the hole on the bottom side of the flower. Insert the end of the stem. Use a scrap of paper to drag the excess glue down the stem, which helps create a more secure connection. Once it's dry, add a bit more floral tape to cover the dried glue. Just rip off a strip of a couple of inches. The last step is adding leaves. I've already cut the shapes with my Cricut. Use your bone folder to add curl to the tips of the leaves. Curl some sections up and some down to mimic real leaves. Add a thin line of glue along the bottom of the leaf stem. Lay the wire in place so that the glue contacts the wire for 1 inch to 1.5 inches. If you have mini clothespins, they are useful for holding the leaf in place until it's dry. I've popped 2 of these flowers into a small milk bottle vase that I found at the dollar store. These spider mums are also great to add to a mix of paper flowers or to a wedding bouquet. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you learned something. For more paper flowers and tutorials, visit especiallypaper.com.